What's up, everybody? It's Casual Friday. We're here hanging out. I'm Titan Danny. I'm joined by some incredible people. What's up?
What up?
What up? It's Friday finally, right?
Oh yeah, I laughed.
And we made it to Friday too. 'Cause it has been
Considering.
a stormy mess around us recently.
Oh, yeah.
So if you live in like Florida or any of that line that the storms have traveled through, I hope you're doing fine. I hope that you're tuning in from your computer comfortably and not your phone in a boat. But yeah, we're here to talk about some Smite 1. I know, right? What
Yeah.
a topic to start with. So here we are, Dev Insight, Smite 1. We have update. Oh, gee, what is it? 11.10?
11:10. Can
Yep.
you believe it?
No,
That's crazy.
I genuinely cannot believe it. Like the fact that we're already pushing into October. Tuesday is October.
Yeah, we were just talking about how that's completely crazy. And
Where's the
you
year
know,
gone?
Yeah. So
I have no concept of time anymore.
Feels like it feels like Worlds was like 2 months ago.
yeah, it feels like
Yeah.
we were up on stage talking about year 11 and all the crazy stuff that was going to happen, and it's been crazy.
And now we're almost in Vegas. That's crazy.
And now we're almost at
It's
Vegas.
crazy. Everything
so
about this is crazy.
everything about this is crazy. So we're here today to do a little rundown on some of the stuff you can expect next Thursday with Smite 1's next update. Again, 11.10. So the Demon Scourge update. So yeah, that's all there really is to it. We're just kind of chilling and talking about some of the changes, balance changes, and new cosmetics you can look forward to next time. So I mean, are we ready to start talking about it?
Yeah, let's kick it off with some skins.
Let's kick it off with some skins. So we're just gonna right off the top, we're gonna kind of follow the patch notes as we go. They should be live. If you're not seeing it, you know, refresh the page a few times. But it should be up and ready to go. It's what I got on my tablet right here. So I mean, J-Mac, ready to start in game?
Yeah, I've got the
Oni
Hades
King
skin
Hades?
ready to go.
Let's check it out. So the
Ooh.
first up, we have a new cross-gen pass, Demon Scourge, namesake of the actual patch itself. And the first game we're gonna talk about is Oni King Hades.
Yeah.
Look at that handsome fella.
I love this theme so much. I'm really excited to get this like super kind of intimidating but also like humanoid take for Hades. Usually Hades is kind of this more like skeletal or ghostly or wraith-like, and this is kind well, I mean, he's not really a human, but he's humanoid, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you get
he's
like
got some of
the
those human features.
fleshy parts, which is really cool. And of course, these effects are super awesome as well.
Yeah. Looking good. The screams of the damned are always wonderful. A wonderful symphony to start off a show. So a very cool scan. Again, part of the new cross-gen pass. And for those of you who don't remember, I'm going to lay it out for you. Cross-gen means Smite 1, Smite 2. And recently we made a change where when you get the cross-gen pass in Smite 1, you still got to grind for those skins in Smite 1. But to make things convenient for those of you who might not have the time, you are instantly getting both of the cross-gen skins. Oh, dude, look at my boy
Yeah,
go.
let him go.
He's going crazy.
Yay.
But you get both the skins in Smite 2 right away. You don't have to earn them in Smite 1 to earn them in Smite 2. So just a convenience thing because we knew some people wanted to have them, you know, build up that skin collection for Smite 2 as they continue to release, but maybe don't have the time to fully grind out that Smite 1 pass or are just wanting to play more Smite 2 nowadays. We want to just make it convenient. So if you get the cross-gen pass, the premium track, immediately you will have all of these skins available for you in Smite 2, whether they currently exist in the game yet or not.
Yep.
When they do, you'll have them.
They're on the way.
They're on the way. So, all right, well, let's keep the ball rolling. So we had that one right there. Now we're moving on to the next skin in the Demon Scourge cross-gen pass, Winged Terror Odin.
This skin is really cool. I know that there has been an Odin skin in the
Tail.
past that's had some similar neat features as this one, and I'm sure you'll see it as we go through the abilities here. But yeah, this is a demon-themed skin for Odin. And oh, what is that?
So cool.
When he leaps into the air,
Yeah,
he has some wings.
He's got the wing.
Oh yeah,
The Odin on Odin violence.
it really is. This Odin is super cool though.
Yeah, he really is.
The voice
wings-
also definitely very intimidating. He's just kind of screaming at you, you know, all of that fun stuff when it comes to what demons want you to do.
I like how you said intimidating, and the first thing we did was make him like, good job, and clap.
Yeah, he has to be a little bit nice, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, there you go, there you go.
Yeah, you had to hit him with a VER VVX. So.
Let's take a closer look at him though. That face is very scary.
Those chompers. Oh, does he have like rows of teeth like a shark?
Sure does.
Oh, that's cool. Dude, I love this kind of stuff. Look at him showing off.
Yeah, I just love all the details and all of the different
Two
spikes and yes, very.
He is
I guess no other way to put it than that guy is fully demonized now, and he is
True.
down in the depths of hell,
Down in
waiting to put people. I guess trap people in them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
That is so cool too.
Cool.
The runes in the middle, the like flames around the spears.
Yes, this skin is super awesome. I just love all the details when we're able to add those little extra flares of animation. Because I mean, Odin doesn't regularly have a tail, doesn't regularly have wings, but all of this stuff gets a nice new treatment for all of his emotes as well. And oh, look at that. He's a special emote.
He's flapping.
He's able to fly around.
Flying to land.
Does your Odin fly?
Watch out, Jingwei. Competition now. So, all right, super cool. Again, the 2 skins you'll be looking forward to in the Demon Scourge cross-gen pass that will be available in SMITE 2 as soon as they exist in SMITE 2. Y'all know how it is. We in Alpha, we trying to get those skins in every chance we get. So, if you have it, though, in SMITE 1, it'll carry over. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
But that's not all the skins we have to talk about. We have 2 more. The Immortal Honor event. For those of you who've been hanging around, you should be familiar with it. But to run you through it one more time, Immortal Honor is 2 skins every update all year. If at the beginning of the year you clicked buy all, you're about to just get 2 more skins next Thursday. Awesome. And they're in SMITE 1 and SMITE 2, so it's kind of like getting 4 more skins. Either way, it's how this event has been all year long. So you can go in and choose your favorite, buy all of them, buy a chapter of them, whatever you want, but they are all cross-gen. You will get them in SMITE 2 as soon as they are released in SMITE 2. It's cool. It's awesome. And now we're talking about Cyberclaw Uwelix.
A Wheelix skin.
Uwelix skin.
I do it the other way.
Other way.
Uh-oh.
It's been a while, guys. Please forgive me.
Dude, that's all right. I
How
don't know.
dare you not remember every single command?
I barely remember what I had for to eat any day of the week.
I barely remember what I had for lunch 15 minutes ago.
Fair enough. Yes! I love
The
this theme so
robot
much. The
man.
like, you know, kind of Sentai-esque where you get like the
Yeah.
super suit going on. Very justice-oriented type character. But a little mechanical too, which I think is really fun. You get a lot of the glowy effects, which is just a good time. And of course, on a Wheelix, she gets to utilize them quite a lot, which you love to see.
Yeah, I super agree. The Cyber Sentai thing is really, really awesome. I love the mechanical panther. The mount is incredible. So very, very cool skin.
Just super like clean, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
is obviously detailed, but like it feels very compact as a design. Like you kind of get all those elements together and they flow into each other naturally. That's like the good mark of a nice, clean and simple design. And I just love how this one looks. And then, you know, it gets spiced up a little bit by the spear and how that ends up turning out, especially with the Wheelix's passive, which will make it glow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just good looks all around.
And I really love too the contrasting color palette, the like
Yeah.
orangey yellow versus the like deep purple pink. So
You can
it's
run away now. We'll make this easier for you.
what a fantastic
Open
comment.
world.
Yeah, that's just standard of Wheelix.
That's just standard of Wheelix. That's just standard of Wheelix goofing and gaffing. So another super cool skin that you can get with the Immortal Honor event or may already have. Who knows? Only you
Yep.
know.
Coming up next week.
Coming up next week and next Thursday. So now we have one more skin to talk about before we dive into some balance, and that's going to be Cosmic Conjurer Merlin.
Ooh, am I excited for this one?
I am. I certainly am.
I love this theme so much.
I love Merlin.
I also love Merlin, so I mean, it's
Well,
kind of a double whammy.
It's a
Take a look at it
whammy.
before we go through the plethora of abilities.
He's just so
I love this line of skins.
galactical. Is
I
that a
have.
word?
Galactical, it is now.
He's mystical, magical Merlin.
Dude, look,
the M and everything.
showing off, yeah.
I love the cosmic lines of skins. They're some of my favorite in Smite.
I very
Yes.
much agree.
It just has
Whenever,
so many nice details.
I've had the splash art for the Nox one for a long time as my desktop background.
Dude, the
I
Nox
saw
one
the splash
looks-
art for this one, and I think I'm about to be changing my desktop
Oh
background.
yeah,
Wow, an upgrade, an update? Not an upgrade, but an update.
yeah. The card art for this one is very, very nice. Ooh,
And see,
sparkly.
That's why I love these. I love like space as an aesthetic is like my favorite, like the deep purple with the stars in it. So,
Yeah.
ooh, it's like constellations in the blink.
He's behind like a little black hole. All right, let's do the fire though. This is a little bit different. Ooh,
Deep
kind of
red.
nice. Like yeah.
And like the
deepish, pinkish
constellations
red.
hidden in it.
Little spacey
Space
looking dragons.
dragons.
Yeah. Got kind of like that, like the red star type thing.
Yeah. Those are some cool space dragons. I approve.
Now we're icy.
But space ice.
Space ice. I mean, it
They
is.
have ice in space, right?
Yeah, it is pretty cold in
It's not
space.
ice.
I think most things in space have some kind of ice to them. I guess except for stars. I know space.
I am the center of the universe.
That's all incredibly cool. Man, I just love space in general.
Who doesn't?
He's clapping.
It's just, it's so cool, you know what I mean? Just like how infinite and overwhelming and destructive space can be, right guys, right?
That's true. That's daunting and horrifying, and I'm gonna think about that for the rest of right now. Plus, nobody can hear you screaming there, is what I hear.
Yes.
So you know, don't die in space. But either way, very, very cool stuff. I super love all these. So both of those part of the Immortal Honor event, which I already spieled about. I'm not going to run Neil's ear off again. So you'll either have it already next Thursday, or you can pick it up if you're interested in having it in Smite 1 and then down the road in Smite 2. So cool stuff.
When Merlin comes out in Smite 2 with this skin,
It's gonna be sick.
that's gonna be really, really great.
It's going to be bananas.
Man.
Every time I see a skin for a character I love, I'm like, hey.
I can't wait for that in Smite 2.
Get them to come out. The grind will be so hard. So, all right. So we've talked some cool skins, but now let's talk some balance.
Some balance. Yeah,
Some
we got a little
balance.
bit.
So, I guess just at a high level, if you want, let's preamble. I love the. I miss some Smite preambles. So what?
I'm picking up the mantle.
You're picking up the mantle, and I need this right now. I think everybody needs a good Smite preamble. So what was kind of the general goal getting into this round of balance for Smite 1?
Yeah, so with a lot of our focus shifting onto Smite 2, we've been trying to kind of analyze from the top down and say, we want to touch only the biggest grievances and start to bring up a lot of those characters and items that just aren't performing very well for whatever reason. You know, they could be unpopular, they could just be bad items. You know, either way, we want to kind of focus more on bringing up than bringing down, and we're going to only be touching the worst offenders when it comes to any nerfs that you see.
Got it.
That's kind of the TLDR. Hopefully you've got a lot of fun God and item changes coming up for you, and we'll be getting rid of those pesky OP items and gods as well.
Get rid of those insane meta builds and stuff. So, all right, well, we're going to kind of just dive into the patch notes and go along with it as a live reading style. So, do we have those ready, J-Mac?
Yeah, ready to go.
Let's go.
We're already right there. Man, y'all
Demon
are fast.
Scourge.
So you can see these are the patch notes. If you want to read along or if you've already looked through it, you can join us on the website. But yeah, so we have all the skins we just looked at, which love the card art for these.
Yes.
So
nice. That Merlin, as you can see, we were not capping.
no, absolutely no cap. So
100%. This will be my new wallpaper.
So cool.
there you go. And you can see it has the little S2, the cross-gen Smite 2 logo. So
Yeah.
good stuff all around. So let's roll down into the item section right off the top. Looks like we're talking about Curse Weaver to kick it off in the nerf section.
We've been
So-
talking about Curse Weaver a lot, I feel like.
True.
We made a lot of changes when this item came out over the next couple of patches from that point to make it pretty good, and then people realized, oh, this item is actually really good.
Really good.
And so, you know, sometimes when that happens, we have to keep adjusting downward because the perception takes a while to change. Because, you know, one nerf might not do it, 2 nerfs might not even do it, but this time we're hoping it really is getting hit enough to be like, okay, we probably should be considering something else in this slot because we're seeing a lot of Curse Weaver, a lot of magical characters going a little bit more tanky for this, or seeing this a lot on like your Cthulhu's, your Cerberuses, and etc. So this is getting an increased cooldown. Of course, you can reduce it with another component of its passive if you're around a lot of people or you're around someone that casts a lot.
Yeah.
That'll help you reduce it. And then we're also decreasing specifically the damage from your max health.
Okay.
So the mana still stays the same. Mana is a little bit more relevant for like your mid laners because, you know, Book of Thoth, all of those books have a lot of mana.
the
So if you want
library.
to still contribute a lot with your mana, that happens a lot more for mages than it does for guardians or just tanks in general.
Yeah.
So that was important for us to kind of keep that relevant while bringing down the health, which is more relevant for tanks.
Yeah, that makes sense. So get it to kind of stay in that mid lane role a little more reliably.
Yeah, not really even to force it there, but to say if you want to build this as a tank, you're just not going to be doing it as well.
Yeah, it's not going to have as many benefits as it did before. Well, cool. So that kind of looks like the end of the nerf section for
Yep,
items.
that's it. That was really the only one that was
There we go.
super overperforming in our stats and from what we were seeing people talk about. So yeah, just Curse Weaver.
Yeah, if anything, we know stats. Y'all seen Max on Twitter. You know that guy is always in the stats.
He's always on them.
Yeah, so now we're into buffs for items.
Mm-hmm.
So let's continue the train with the Crusher. What's happening with the Crusher?
Yeah, so we've been kind of measuring damage across roles. And
Okay.
we've been seeing that assassins are doing pretty okay in the early game, and they're falling off kind of hard in the mid game, then doing all right towards the late game. So we're trying to hit one of those mid game items, which is Crusher, really good for those proc characters, and also good for some of the more attack speed oriented hunters as well. Which, you know, sometimes sprinkle in a couple of abilities there, but we're giving it a little bit more attack speed to kind of help give it a better niche, fit into a lot more builds a little bit more regularly to give it like that solid chunk of attack speed. And then we're also upping the passive damage to scale a bit better. So on those characters that benefit from the attack speed, your ability hunters will get a little bit of love from that.
Yeah.
But also for those characters that are getting a lot of just damage in general across the board, want a lot of scaling, this is also going to help out for that.
Awesome. Sounds super good. So moving away from that physical damage and kind of back to the world of magic, we have Sphinx's baubles.
Yes, this was a one-patch wonder, you might say.
One-patch wonder.
It came in, and we buffed it probably the hardest we've buffed an item in a very long time, and then we nerfed it just as hard in the same series of a month to 2 months. So we wanted to bring it back down just a little bit. This item is very fun. It's also very disruptive if you see it too much.
It can be.
Because 50% cooldown is kind of crazy.
It goes hard.
When, you have all of the builds mapped out and things like that. But we want to make sure that this item feels available if you want to get it, but not, all the time must have guaranteed. So we're putting it at a more reasonable price point than 2,800 because we generally over nerfed it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It'd make it a little easier as kind of that third or fourth item pickup to get that bonus cooldown.
Exactly.
So to kind of hang out in Tankville, Hide of the Nemean Lion.
Another kind of over nerf. We saw a lot of very interesting reactions to this item when it came out. A lot of people saying, oh my god, Nemean's back, it has reflect damage, this is the apocalypse, Ragnarok has come, etc. So we wanted to address the feedback. And then we saw its purchase rate plummet even before we nerfed it, and we went, oh, people don't actually think it's that good. So what we're doing is essentially just reverting it back to its original state when it was removed, and then when we re-added it. So this is just, it's going back to what it was.
Hide of the Nemean Lion, back to what it was.
Yep.
Rock and roll, so Crimson Claws would be the next on our list.
Yes, we saw a really big shift to this item in a recent patch as well, where it got a lot of lifesteal. This is like your premier lifesteal item for hunters, but it just wasn't quite making the mark in comparison to the other options that they have between Aussie, between Devos, etc. So we wanted to make sure that Claws felt relevant, felt like you could get it in an adequate amount of time, and had an adequate payoff.
Yeah.
So we're bringing the cost down by a smidge, just a little bit, but we're also going to be bringing the power up by a smidge as well to just make it have the numbers that will compete.
Yeah, make it a more competitive item, a little
Exactly.
smidge and smush. All right, so Gem of Isolation is on.
Now this is a more fun item, or rather, unfun item, depending on what side of the coin that you're on
Besides
here.
being hit by
But
it, you are.
I do think that a lot of people have really enjoyed playing with this item as a niche, as a more like supportive or setup mentality for your magical characters. So we're bringing the power up just a little bit, bringing the cost down just a little bit as well. Kind of same idea where we want this to be a little bit more available if you want to go for it, but not by any means a necessity. Just making that playstyle a little bit more good.
Yeah, a little more
Better,
viable.
a little better.
All right, so to tech back towards tank, the Mantle of Discord is also getting a little love.
Yes, God, I remember when this item was like a must buy.
The item.
It was the defensive item on so many supports in like seasons, like 4 to 6, and then it just vanished. It vanished.
It's
and
into the mist.
It hasn't been back since. And so what we're doing here is we're decreasing the cost by a little bit, yes. But the more important change here is that we're decreasing the activation threshold from 30% to 40%. So you're getting this stun and cleanse more reliably, which is honestly really, really
Super
big.
strong,
This item used to be 3,000 gold, by the way, and that was like considered like good. Like that was a fair price for this item.
That makes sense.
And so it's definitely a lot cheaper now. Going to activate a little bit sooner. Going to give you more chance to live or play around it or whatever you want to do. And we're hoping to see more of it.
Yeah, we'll see you on the battleground, Mantle. So moving on, some more tanky kind of. We have Phalanx.
Phalanx is definitely an item that's had its time.
Yeah, it has.
Its stats honestly are good in terms of what it provides, but it just has next to no purchase rate. Especially in game modes outside of Conquest. You can see it sometimes in Arena, but not that great in Arena, honestly. And then definitely not super good in a lot of other modes. However, we want to kind of let players play around the passive a little bit more, have more time to work around it. So giving it a little bit more duration, just 2 more seconds, is going to be nice. But again, it's to give it a little bit more of that consistency versus make it actually better.
Yeah. The idea is not to make take items and slot them into the must-have role, but to make them a more competitive option.
Well, okay, I should hold back on that for a second here because we got to talk about this next item.
All right, let's talk about it. Tablet of Destinies.
This one might make it good.
This one might make it good.
This is kind of a crazy buff in a
Whoa.
way. Yeah, J-Mike reads that and he's like, huh?
Hold up.
That's a bigger number.
That is a bigger number for the stacks, which means more damage. You got to hit more abilities, though. It'll take longer to get there. But if you do get there, you will be swinging. So all of our hard-hitting, accurate magicians, you guys will be having a good time trying to get up to 70 now instead of 50 abilities hit. So
completely lost me at accurate. Sorry. So it's basically the same item for me, but for those of you who know how to play and hit skill shots, enjoy the damage.
Indeed, indeed. And that's it.
Yeah, that wraps us up for the items that we had to talk about. But of course, there's always game modes and gods. So, well, gods specifically, and I'm talking non-conquest balance, right?
Yes. A lot of this was focused on more assassins and how
Okay.
they've been showing up in our non-conquest modes. So generally, a lot of assassins have had non-conquest buffs where they either take less damage or they deal more damage or their cooldowns are reduced, things like that.
Yeah.
But what we're doing here is for 3 of our top performing assassins in non-conquest modes being Serket, Ao Kuang, and Camazotz. I'm including Ao Kuang in there because that's how he plays.
Yeah. And fair.
They are getting one of their buffs removed entirely. So they just get a little bit less for free by playing in those modes. You know, you typically see them build a little bit more tanky in those modes, tends to be a little bit more successful. So we are removing the increased damage to gods to make sure that, you know, if you're building tanky, you're not getting a little bit of free damage on top of that.
course.
Ao Kuang removing the decreased damage taken to make it a little bit easier to get him off of you if he's trying to stick to you or execute you. And then Camazotz, just less ultimates. Because it tends to be the frustration point with him where he flies away off into the unknown and then you can't catch him anymore.
That's what's great about Camazotz. It's like, oh, I was about to die, but I'm just going to fly
I'm just
going to
push forward.
Bat out of trouble. So.
Out of trouble. That's a good one.
All right, now it seems
yeah.
like there's one buff among these, though, for not an assassin, however.
Yes, Artemis. Artemis is a very, very interesting character because she's one of the first characters that beginner players usually interact with based on...
classic.
She's a classic, that's true. She's very, very cheap when it comes to favor cost, and then she's also relatively simple, which helps. So she ends up being pretty popular. You know, she's got that name recognition as well. So a lot of newer players flock to Artemis and actually do quite well with Artemis.
Yeah.
But the more that you move up the skill and the time axes on the graph, the worse and worse Artemis does. As many of you know, I'm sure she's not the most mobile character in the world. Can kind of get run down unless she's got Tusky up, and even then, you know, Tusky's not infallible.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to be decreasing the nerf that she previously received in non-conquest by 5% to her ultimate cooldown, and then everything else will be staying the same, just a little bit less nerfed than before.
That makes sense. A little more viable in that high skill environment. So Artemis fans, there you go. So now we're into just regular god balance, like conquest balance, and we're starting off with the buffs. And at the top of the list, a character that I have never learned to accurately play, Set.
Set is a difficult character, my friends.
Very much so.
He is, unfortunately, one of the least popular gods in the game and one of the least winning because he is just that difficult. So one of the things that we're doing here is we're trying to make him a little bit more survivable, have a little bit more options in terms of the things that he does. And also, as you can see, we fixed a number of bugs.
Yeah, a handful of bugs.
Me when I look at the numbers and I go, that doesn't add up, and then I fix them. So what we've done here is we've increased Set's base health by a little bit, 15 health. It helps occasionally here and there, especially when you're trying to avoid taking some damage from the camps. It'll be a little bit less relevant now when you go to that PvP moment. And then Spawn of Set. This was actually not doing as much damage as it was doing up to 60% less damage than it should have been, which
that's a big number.
Is kind of crazy considering. This is not, affecting the dash at all. The dash and like the clone skewer and all that stuff, not the case. It was the basic attacks of the clones. So that is fixed now. That's going to be properly doing the things that it should be doing. And then we're also decreasing the cooldown to give Set a little bit more flexibility in how he uses these clones, how often he has access to the mobility, to the extra skewer, all of those things. So you get a little bit more chances to be able to hit them should you want to.
Yeah.
Finally, though, we're talking about Sandstorm. And this is actually a really cool buff because it also kind of buffs his ultimate. We're increasing the tick rate from every 0.4 seconds to every 0.3 seconds. And as those who know Set know, you need a certain number of ticks, being 4 ticks to happen, of any damage from Set to have his ultimate pop, to the burst, to the heal, make a clone, etc.
The whole
So now that'll happen 0.1 seconds faster, which, may not seem like a lot, but considering that ultimate lasts for a long time, that's going to add up.
Yeah, it's going to build.
So that is also getting fixed. There also was a bug that was fixed from Set getting an extra tick of damage. And then, of course, we have to kind of swap up the damage. This is just literally a damage translation. There's nothing crazy about that, except we are keeping the power a little bit higher than it would have been to compensate for the extra tick that we are now missing, because that tick should never have been there.
Okay.
So we're keeping the scaling a little bit higher than it should be.
Got it. Complex, but fair, and sounds like Set players are eating. So also, if a song got stuck in your head when the word sandstorm was said, we're friends. Now. So, all right. So moving on, we have Serket up next.
Yes, this is actually a very exciting set of buffs.
Ooh, all right, let's do it.
This first one, Ambush. 100% scaling on Jump In. So jump in.
Yeah, so just
Start jumping in.
Jump in.
100% scaling.
You heard it here
which
first.
is a
Jump
lot of scaling for one ability.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate. This is actually super, super cool because we did an adjustment here to Serket that allows her to throw effectively twice as fast, but as those who are Serket players will know, when she finishes her stabby stab, when you jump on the person, you stab on them, all of that good stuff, you flip off of them. So what we've done is we've kind of adjusted the speed of the animation and how quickly it gets you into certain phases of it. So you're going to throw them a lot quicker, but you're also going to be finishing that backflip. But the biggest advantage here is that you are throwing them much faster, and while you're in the backflip, you still have CC immunity, but now you can move. So not only are you throwing faster, but you also spend more time being CC immune and being able to move / catch up / juke out certain things, all of that good stuff while that's happening. You are only spending 15% less time in the ability though, so I get why that's a little bit confusing. The overall time is 15%. The throw is almost 50% faster though.
Oh, okay.
So, you give and you take in a little couple spots, but honestly, this feels really great because the animation doesn't break anymore. it actually looks like it's supposed to look. The art is actually like functioning and it's beautiful. It looks awesome. So I can't wait for you guys to try it. It feels really great.
Awesome. Well, yeah, if you're a Serket player, tell us how those extra animation frames feel and the little bit of immunity. So. Yeah. Camazot's up next. Speaking of assassins, an assassin I've always loved. What's going on with Camazot?
Camazot is a very interesting case because he is usually a very safe character, a character that is a little bit difficult, right, in a lot of ways. He's got skill shots on skill shots and a small jump, and then, of course, he's got the ultimate. But what we're doing here is kind of in a similar vein to Smite 2, where ability lifesteal is on our lifesteal. Lifesteal just gives ability lifesteal now. So we're kind of thinking like, oh, Camazotz is like the lifesteal guy. That's like his whole deal is he heals, he gets lifesteal. So we're giving him ability lifesteal as well on both his Essence Stringer buff and his Vampire Bats buff. Both of them together now give ability lifesteal as well.
Okay, cool.
On top of that, though, we're giving Bat Out of Hell a little bit of an extra bonus to the scaling when you are hitting multiple people in Bat Out of Hell, because as our experienced Camazotz players know, when you swoop, if you swoop through multiple people, every time that you hit a person, the next person takes more and more damage. So now you want to just try and hit as many people as possible with your swoop. Doesn't affect it if you're hitting one person. Nothing has changed about it in that case, but if you're hitting multiple, that increased damage is going to feel real nice.
Camazotz bowling. You're always got to go for the strike and hit all of them. So that's a skin idea. No, I want a bowling ball Camazotz skin now. All right, cool. Before I dwell on that for too long, let's talk about Giannis.
Giannis. Where to begin with this guy?
Cool robot guy.
He sure is. People love Giannis. They also hate Giannis for a number of reasons. Me personally, I ban Giannis from my own teammates, but that's fine. We're trying to make Giannis a little bit easier here. Not necessarily easier. I guess that's a weird word, right? Because I'm trying to make the point here that he's going to be a little bit more consistent across the board. So the first things first is that Portal's getting an increase in damage. Normally, like Lermy, I just use his Portal to run around. I'm not trying to hit people with it. Well, you'll see why this is honestly kind of cool, because we are adjusting the movement speed of Threshold from 10 to 20% at all ranks to 15% at all ranks. We're increasing the max stacks of Threshold. So this is your movement speed buff as well, from 2 to 3. So now you can have up to 45% movement speed if you are zipping and zapping through all of your portals. This also counts for your allies as well, which is very nice. You love to see that. And then we're also increasing the buff duration and then decreasing the cooldown of Threshold. So you have more chances to use Threshold. You can stack it up over longer amounts of time. And then you can go for Portal offensively if you feel like it.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with zooming around the map. Giannis has always been one of my favorites, so any buff is a good buff for Giannis.
Does help him out in the early game. You do get more if you are really min-maxing those cooldowns and keeping an eye out on the Threshold counter. That timer, making sure that you are reapplying it every 6 seconds to keep getting those. Or if you're going through a lot of portals, you get this really, really big like power swing of I am super fast right now because I've traveled through a bunch of portals. It feels really, really nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, always been a playmaker. I love the cross map snipe into whole team funneling through the jungle and through portal. Just what a character. But speaking of snipes, our next god is Ra, actually, another sniper.
Ra is a sniper. However, he's not getting any changes to his snipes. Those feel great.
It was already good.
Ra is a character that is very popular, unfortunately not performing that well, so we're just giving him a couple small buffs across the board. You know, since the TTK changes a couple patches ago, he's been having a tough time because he is a character that kind of gets run down.
Yeah.
He has some self-defensive tools, but realistically he will die if he's getting run at consistently by, you know, a tank or an assassin or maybe a Thor dunked or something. You know, it could be any of those scenarios. So we're giving him a little bit more health per level, and then we're also increasing the damage scaling per tick on Solar Blessing by a little bit, 5% per tick, but that does that up because that ability lasts for quite a long time.
Quite a
So,
while.
you know, if you're doing it on objectives, if you're doing it to kind of juke around in the ability, any of those will have a little bit more benefit. You can also use on the wave and get a little bit more damage as well.
Good zoning ability. Just a lot of utility in that ability.
Sure has a lot.
Ability utility. Anyway, talking about mages, we're in Kukulkan land now.
Cool con.
Kukulkan.
This is crazy.
This is crazy.
I'm sure many people think that Kukulkan is perfectly fine right now. And honestly, I would have agreed with you. Previously, I thought Kukulkan was probably sitting middle of the pack, just chilling. Max pulls up the sheet, and I go, what the heck is he doing down there?
The numbers don't
What
lie.
do you mean?
What do they mean,
So,
Max?
we wanted to give him just a little bit of damage buff across the board, and this is mostly geared toward the late game because he does fall off a little bit, and we were pretty harsh on scaling nerfs previously, so we're just bringing up that base damage to make sure that he is still swinging no matter what point in his build he's in.
Yeah.
And again, that is towards the mid to late game. You know, you're leveling up Whirlwind and then Zephyr, so you're getting these kind of, you know, 9 to 15 as your zone.
Yeah. Makes sense. Sounds good. I will never be able to say that god's name right because of that one skin, though. It will always be Kukulkan. So anyway, we have Aphrodite up next.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
Afro mains in the chat, this one's for you. We have a crazy buff here for Aphrodite. She is now getting a new effect on Undying Love, where using this ability will now reset the cooldown of Lovebirds.
Huh. That's kind of cool.
It's
More
going to
birds.
be very, very cool. So you can birds into birds. You get a little Staff of
Birds into
Mirrodin
birds.
action, a little Smite 2 into Smite 1 moment.
Yeah.
And then also just as a fun little extra buff for Afro damage dealers out there, because we know you love to do that,
Sure.
we're giving Aphrodite 15% more scaling around her. Not around her soulmate, around her. So if you get really close to Afro specifically, you will have to be a little bit more worried now. She's getting a big jump in scaling there if you get too close and she asks you to back off.
Yeah. Back off.
You should.
Yeah, you should listen. It's
It's
good
also like a
advice.
shadow buff to all Susano players too.
Well, no, I guess so. It's not really a buff to Susano, but it's a buff to Susano's
We
Aphrodite.
like to play with Aphrodite.
Yes, doesn't actually affect Susano in any way.
It's a
but
buff to the
It's an
e-couples out
indirect
there.
buff.
Yeah.
Sure is.
All right, so now moving on to somebody near and dear to my heart, we have Atlas.
Atlas is a really, really cool god.
I love it.
However, his performance not that cool.
We weren't paying attention to that.
I'm trying to skate past that part.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, he is in the lineup for a round of buffs, and so he's getting a small buff here to Kinetic Charge, and then an interesting buff to Gamma Ray Burst,
love
where when you fire Gamma Ray Burst, it slowly starts to kind of, what's the word that I want to use, kind of like fizzle down into a smaller radius, because it's a circle, and it becomes a smaller circle over time.
Yeah.
Now that circle's going to be a little bit bigger, so if you want to do any cross-map snipes or do anything fancy like that, try to steal Gold Fury, it's going to be a little bit easier for you, whereas previously it was a 10-unit radius,
Yeah.
kind of small. Now it's 20 units, so it'll be a little bit easier to do really cool things like that, and you'll have a great time hitting people across the map, and if they die, good job.
Yeah. It wasn't a stolen kill. I was securing it for you. Anyway, before people get mad, let's move on to another Guardian, Sobek.
Sobek. He does really well in non-conquest modes, does not do super well in conquest, unfortunately.
Okay.
Neither in solo nor in support, surprisingly. However, he is now getting a little bit more healing to help him sustain up whether he's in support or in solo,
Got
and then
it.
decrease cooldown to get some more heals more often, or apply anti-heal, or just clear. Any of the following options are all true. You can mark them all. And then finally, Lurking in the Water. This is a very, very special ability now because it can slow up to 50%
Oh, that's a lot.
at max rank. Well, you got to get your Sobek there first. So
Yeah.
as long as you can get to level 20, you're going to be having an ultimate that is going to be very, very scary if you're
Yeah.
standing in it. And you certainly don't want to be there when he's lurking in the waters.
No, That's walking around in the swamp with no shoes on. That's just a bad time.
Those crocodiles are going to nibble your feet. It's not
It's
going to be
true.
fun.
Swamp puppies, not a fan of
Swamp
toes.
puppies.
So I guess speaking of water, for the vague connection to the next god, we have Maui, our ocean boy.
Maui. I feel like we've been here many a times before. Maui is a very tough god to buff because
Yeah.
his mechanics are generally very difficult to change in terms of what people are used to and actually how they function
Yeah.
at this point in time. So we just did a humongous stat buff across the board for Maui to see if that's what's going to help him out. We've given him a lot of buffs over the past couple months and he still hasn't really budged. So we're hoping that this will be the time, Maui. This will be it. We believe in
Swing
you.
in the right direction.
Like, this god is like better than he was on release.
Yes, that's
Like,
crazy to
This
me.
is better than like the pre-nerf Maui.
Essentially, yeah.
Gotta play a little bit better out there, Smite 1 fan.
Wow.
This god is
Dang.
good. I'm just saying, this god is good, and he is the test of good mechanics.
No, you're not wrong.
If you can hit that one consistently, if you can land those landfalls, Maui is crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is even if you hit them, you need your pals to be stepping it up too. So
Yeah.
if you're playing with a Maui,
Blame the
you guys step it
teams.
up too.
All right, so what you've heard here is that
There
if
you
you're
go.
playing Maui, skill issue. If you're on the team with Maui, also skill issue. So
That's just what the stats say. Hey, that's not me. That's not me.
That's
That's
not
the stats.
I'm sure that won't end in fire.
Oh,
All right, so let's talk Hachi. How about that?
Hachi, man.
Hachi, man.
Hachi was very good previously, and then he got a lot of nerfs. And those nerfs, boy, did they hurt him. So we're giving him a feature back on Eagle Eye that he once had a long time ago, except we're doing the reverse. It previously did more damage to someone that was closer to you.
Okay.
Now it does more damage to someone that is farther away from you. So if you're an excellent sniper, if you're hitting those Eagle Eye shots, you're going to be doing 5% increased damage. Yippee.
So again, not a buff for me, but for those Hachi players
People
out there.
that can hit it.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yajutsu also getting a little bit of increased damage if you want to go in and commit. It's getting a 10 buff for both hits, by the
Ooh.
way. So this is a 20 damage buff across the board. Better for clearing, better for killing, better for getting in there with.
Better for life
Indeed.
or death. Anyway.
Both. Meta Archery is the last thing we're going to hit here,
Yeah.
and that is increasing the slow duration from 1.5 to 2 seconds, just making it a little bit easier for Hachi to catch up and fight with someone should he choose to actually chase them down after hitting them with the archery shot.
Cool beans. All around, good buffs for our boy Hachi. So, but sticking to the theme of bow and arrows and the letter H, we also have Hu Yi.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Yeah, we really are sticking to the theme, huh? Hu Yi is a very interesting character because his passive is only good when it's against crits. And so that is something that we wanted to kind of hone in on here, is that Sun Touch is getting a brand new effect when this passive activates. Reduce Hu Yi's cooldowns, all of them, including his ultimate, by 2 seconds. So if you're building crit against him, you're really going to feel it. Now, not only does he not take crits, but he's getting his cooldowns back faster, which is very good. He is the anti-crit hunter now.
Yeah.
Which is
the
nice.
anti-crit. That's what a powerful title to have.
He's also getting a little bit of increased physical protection for like a very similar reason. If he's going to be anti-crit, he deserves to be a little bit tankier.
Yeah,
He's
take a
not
few
incredibly
more hits.
tanky. He's not as tanky as, your big, bulky lion Martikaras type guys,
Yeah.
Not on that same level, considering that he's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
But he's getting a
Not
little bit
Marty.
more.
It's just a guy.
And then, of course, Mark of the Golden Crow getting an up here on the cooldown from 16 to 14 to 14 at all ranks, and that's going to help you a little bit in the early game. Got to feel real nice to have more of those increase your damage with the level up versus the cooldown.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes it also so that you don't have to worry about prioritizing leveling that ability as well for the cooldown.
Yes.
So. Awesome. Well, again, we're kind of sticking to the H name theme and people that have projectiles with Heimdall.
Yeah, no bow and arrow this time,
No bow and arrow
unfortunately.
this
But Heimdall is the next hunter on our radar here, and he's getting a big buff to the Vigilant and through the Realms. The Vigilant, you're going to be able to see people for 2 more seconds after they leave
Ooh, cool.
your vision, allies' vision, wards, any of those things. If you ever see someone, you see them for 2 seconds longer now, which is very powerful.
That is very
in the
powerful.
right hands.
Vision is crazy.
Vision is good. And then through the realms, this cooldown is going from 90 to 90 to 70 seconds. Gonna feel really nice to be able to dash around a little bit more, have some mobility, throw people through Niflheim and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Through all the realms.
that's one of my favorite abilities. As somebody who does not play Heimdall almost at all, that is one of my favorite abilities in the whole game. The cross-realm, like, all-expense-paid vacation.
Sometimes I like getting hit by it just to see like the sights, you know.
Yeah, right? Again, it's a free vacation through the realms. Like, Heimdall's such a nice guy.
I love it when they ult me out of like a cuckoo ult or a Scylla ult or something. That's my favorite part.
True.
Is when their teammates mess up.
It's one of those you're flying where you're like, thank you. All right, so next up, kind of a niche god that I don't think anybody ever really has played or knows about, Bologna.
Yeah, who's this Bologna? I'm kidding. We love Bologna. Bologna's getting some increased health per level to help her out in the more late game side of things because, as you all know, she's a great lane bully. She does a lot of stuff in lane.
She does.
Falls off a lot towards the late game. So what we are doing here as well is increasing the potency of Shield Bash by decreasing the cooldown. Cooldown down by 1 second. And then Eagles Rally getting even more shared protections. If you stand in Eagles Rally, you'll want to fight in it. You get 60 of each protection at max rank. So 60, my friends, is a lot of protections. You want to be fighting in Eagles Rally.
When she says rally here, she's like, no, really.
She means it.
Like,
yeah.
Here.
She means that.
I got protections for you, and a lot of them. So Tyr up next, our one-handed man.
This is a big set of Tyr buffs. If you like Tyr, you better be looking at the screen now because Tyr is getting a decreased cooldown on change stances, both of change stances, of course, from 10 seconds to 9 seconds. You now are able to flip and flop between the offensive and the defensive stances a little bit more, and the Lawbringer is getting an increased stun duration on the guard stance from 1 to 1.5 seconds, but it's also getting an increased slow efficiency from 25 to 30%.
Nice. For all you Tyr playing stance switching, I've lost all the words in my brain. Congratulations. Let's continue moving to Osiris, our dude with ghost limbs.
Yes, our last buff here, Osiris, my Cyrus.
Osiris, my Cyrus.
He is getting quite a lot of buffs here as well. This is actually going to be a big set of buffs for Osiris too, because he is getting increased attack speed on his passive. When you hit those 8 stacks on it, you've used 8 abilities, you do get that haste effect, but you also get increased attack speed. And now you're getting 30% increased attack speed, which feels real nice, especially in the early game where he's meant to be a bully, hasn't been doing much bullying before, which also leads us over to Sickle Strike, which is going to help us with a little bit of poke, a little bit of clear. You'll love to see that. Still does less damage to minions, of course, but is going to be getting boosted here across the board. Yeah. And then this is the big one, ladies and gentlemen. Lord of the Afterlife. The root duration on this ability used to be 0.4 seconds, 0.8 seconds. We're doubling that.
Double the duration. That's wild. Osiris, much like Tyr, a character that is so incredible to watch other people play, and I have never fully grasped. So for those of you who are good at it, keep being good at it. It's really fun to watch.
It sure is.
But now we're out of buffs.
Yep, we got some nerfs.
We're on to nerfs. So we got some nerfs that we're going to share with y'all, starting with Scary Spider.
Yep, we've got our superstars of the last patch up next, so play them while you can. Arachne's getting a small nerf here to Web. We recently added scaling to her Broodling basic attacks from, it was 30%, now it's going down to 20%. So 10% less scaling on those attacks. Gonna feel a little bit less bad when you're getting attacked by 3 of them all at once in the late game.
When you're getting jumped by spiders in the woods.
Who wants to get jumped by spiders in the woods? Not me. I hate bugs.
It happens around my house. It's horrible.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah. So Apua up next.
Yes. What a day it is, ladies and gentlemen. That Apua is getting nerfed.
I know.
Apua, I know you're in the chat. Turn away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Eyes, my sweet summer child.
We gave him a lot of buffs last patch, and they certainly performed quite well. So we're taking a couple of those back. Specifically, we're bringing the damage reduction and the damage scaling on Empty the Crypts back a little bit. We're still keeping them buffed from where they were previously, but, you know, they're getting hit pretty significantly here. And then we're also decreasing the additional damage scaling. So this is when you pop a heal, you get healed by any ability. That damage is also going down on Fleeting Breath from 50% to 40%, going to feel a little bit less bursty. If you happen to run into him, this is especially applicable in the assault modes, where you run into him a lot. That guy had a humongous win rate in that mode. So
not surprising.
Most typical that you run into that kind of thing in that mode, but of course it also does apply when you typically want to pick him as like the anti-heal counter matchup, just getting a little bit less bonus off of that. And of course that ult is not going to be hitting as hard as it did before.
Makes sense. So moving on to gods that are going to make people mad that we're nerfing them. Scotty. Sorry, Katie.
Oh, KD. I wish I didn't have to, but the stats say otherwise. So Rune of the Hunt is, of course, Scotty's 2. This kind of controls, you know, what Calder does. And so Calder did some dash damage. He's doing a lot less dash damage now, going from 70 to 130% of your basic attack damage to 70 to 110%, going down by 20% come the late game. So that's going to feel a little less good for Calder, but, you know, Scotty, she'll be okay.
Yeah, he did a heckin' bite, and now he has to take a break. So
yeah, that was a bad dog.
All right, I don't know about that. Maybe it just
Listen, when you're running up against that dog and he's
That's fair.
killing you, no,
feels like a bad dog.
time out.
All right, so last one. This one almost feels bad just because it's such a sweetheart, but Capri needed some nerf.
He's been hugging too many people, you know.
Hugging too
Nerf
many
my
folks.
dog.
Yeah, nerf my dog. Yeah, wow, a dog to your dog. Man,
One got a buff and one got a nerf. This is crazy.
Yeah.
My household is in shambles.
what a day.
We recently buffed the damage, the amount of ticks that Kepri gets in this ability, which also increases clear. We're just bringing his clear down just a little bit of less damage on that. It's gonna feel a little less good for our hug bug when it comes to clearing the lane, when it comes to poking. If you're getting hit by this ability, it's gonna hurt less. That's gonna feel not as bad.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
said Capri, your clear is crazy. Calm down, dog.
Yeah.
So
Well, bug, but yeah, dog.
okay.
Maybe.
I was going for like the homie term, but all right, I get it. Calm down, bug. But all right, well, we've made it to the end.
Yeah.
We've done it.
That's
So,
it.
A lot of good balance for Smite 1 coming through. Again, like you said, focusing a lot on kind of those major pain points. Some of
Yeah.
those highlight features that we saw, like when you look at the graphs, the numbers, and player feedback and reaction. It's like, all right, here are the areas where we need to trim the fat a
Yep,
little bit. so-
Exactly. We're looking for super overperformers and super underperformers and changing those guys up in ways that we hope are exciting to you guys.
Awesome. And as Lermy just said, we hope it's exciting to all of y'all. As always, between Smite 2, we're always looking forward to y'all's feedback about everything. So keep it coming. We hope you are also excited about the new cross-gen skins, both in the Demon Scourge cross-gen pass and in the Immortal Honor event. So check those out and all of the balance next Thursday. But beyond that, it's been really
Thursdays.
fun. Thursdays, right?
Thursdays now, yes. We have changed the date, so remember, if you're looking for Smite 1, anything,
Thursday.
Thursdays.
You heard it here. Well, you heard it somewhere else first, maybe. Or maybe you did hear it here first. Either way. It's been super
Now you know.
fun. Yeah, now you know. The more you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
There's a lot of those. All right, well, it's been super fun to hang out with y'all, and thank you both for coming on for some Smite 1 dev insight today. So,
Yeah, hopefully you got some insight.
yeah, hopefully you took away some insight from this. Either way, I've been Titan Dandy here with Lermy and J-Mac. We are super excited for this update next Thursday, and we'll talk to y'all later. See ya.